My friends, as you can imagine, this story that I'm about to discuss with you is of the utmost importance, absolutely so critical, but you're not going to hear any of this on conventional TV, conventional cable news, for reasons that, I mean, we could guess why, but it deals with something which is far more frightening. And it goes to show you that if you are going to look for somebody somewhere to explain to you the real goings on of the world, don't go to cable news. You're going to have to look to people like us, our particular group, to let people know what it is that we're talking about. Now, I want you to listen carefully because, pardon me, what we are witnessing is not really a theory anymore. It is a slow, deliberate, methodical transformation of human society under the banner or the aegis or the rubric of convenience or safety and innovation. And the promoters of this system present themselves usually as, visionaries and public private partnership owners. These are the Altmans, Elon. They are the ones who really run the world. Those are the rock stars today. And they use glowing language about efficiency and modernization and global cooperation and coordination. And yet, you strip the branding away. And the model that they advocate, what they're really promoting, mirrors the economic absolute definition of fascism. And when you say that to people, they don't really follow because to most people still, fascism means some kind of totalitarian, brutal society. They don't really understand the definition of fascism, just like they don't understand socialism and Marxism and communism. They don't know what this means. And this is the critical part, which is the most important. And this is what I want people to focus on. Fascism is government merged with corporate power. That's the definition. Regulation replaced with consolidation. And our freedom, being replaced with permission. We don't have freedom. We just ask, can I do that? That's not freedom. That model is not coming. It's already being tested in plain sight. And I can't emphasize this enough. And no matter where I go, no matter whom I talk to, now we have this obsession with Klaus Schwab because he looks creepy. He looks funny. It's convenient. It's funny. His family history, with Nazi industry and atomic weapons and, the usual stuff. And all of that research, it makes him an easy villain. He's like a cartoonish Bond character, with a white cat, he's I mean, people love him. You will own nothing, you will eat bugs, and we love him because that we can dig. But focusing on one man is a trap. And it's not just him. It's not just the World Economic Forum, and it's not just Davos, it's different. There are other institutions, in fact, making or advancing identical agendas with nearly identical language. And what's interesting about the agenda here, it stretches across everything from banking and artificial intelligence and digital identity and all of this going into the weaponization of public health. Okay? It really gets scary. Now, Klaus Schwab didn't invent these ideas. Many older institutions laid the groundwork long before he appeared on the scene. And what I want you to know is to listen and focus and have this, I hope, maybe inspire you to do your own research because all of this information is here. The young global leader concept, this isn't exclusive just to the WEF. Versions of this exist across universities, foundations, NGOs, and they identify rising talent. And they place them in key sectors and prepare them for long-term influence. This is what the university system for the longest time did. This is what they did, and you saw in Ivy League and other institutions as well. This this isn't this isn't conspiracy. Believe me, it is standard political strategy. And if you want a generation to serve an ideology, then educate them into it. See, this is what I'm saying again. We don't have this. I'm not really sure who we are, but whoever our group is, we don't have anything. Somebody comes along by the name of, Nick Fuentes, and people go crazy because they think Nick Fuentes is some kind of an evil something or other. We are so backwards. We are so behind. It's not even remotely funny. And there's nothing I can do to get people to change their mind. And nobody's looking around it. Because what we do is we look to cable news. And we think that watching Candace is good enough for something. But that's not what we need to do. I mean, that's great and everything. But we don't place our future. We don't do what the radical left, or excuse me, not what the radical left is, but what the globalists do. I mean, they believe that if you want to have a generation to serve an ideology, then educate them into it, put them in, then place them inside government and law and media and medicine and finance. That's where all these people that you see, all these big shots from various big, Ivy League schools and the like, that's where they started. That's how you build a global governance without having to win elections. We don't do this. We don't know anything about this. Now, you can say what you want, and you can mock these folks, but they know what they're doing. There is evidence of factional infighting among elites. Every empire, everyone that we know has, of course, internal conflict. You know that. But the general direction is clear. Powerful interests are seeking to block nationalist leaders from rising too high in any Western government. That's what's going on right now. And they're very good at this. Let me explain to you. When somebody resists the global model, think Tucker. Okay? Tucker was getting very, 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 very powerful very quickly. And when they saw him resisting this global model, Alex Jones and others, banks retaliate before politicians can even react. You know where we saw it? We saw it in Canada. Remember that? When truckers protested the public health mandates. Remember that? It just dropped out of the news. They weren't merely censored on social media. They were locked out of the financial system. And that is a warning. That is a warning. You may speak, but you will not eat if you speak against us. See, they control everything. And that tactic becomes easier once digital currency replaces cash. How many times have you heard this? How many times? In our group, we talk about it. Nobody else does. Does Trump talk about it? Nope. Never hear it. Central bank digital currency, CBDC. It's not some cannabis thing. It's programmable money. And the state could determine what you can buy, and what you can do, and where you can travel. They've already placed the language in policy documents. They already tell you this. Private car ownership, this is what they're saying, is called a legacy system. This is what they're doing right now. Traditional doctor visits are called legacy medicine. And by the way, one day you're not going to have a doctor, you're going to have a bot. And the goal is to end both. Instead of personal cars, personal automobiles, personal transportation, fleets. There's fleets. Instead of private choices, you have assigned options. Instead of a doctor relationship, you've got algorithms. And the blueprint for this future is already written in national security papers now. But you're not going to know this if you keep looking as directed to conventional, usual stuff. You are going to be looking at regular shows and people, then they will dupe you into thinking this is symbolic. When corporate tech and intelligence agencies and military research, when they all unite around a policy, politics becomes mere decoration. Think about this. The model looks familiar because it's openly modeled after China. Do you remember how Rockefeller, in particular, loved China? Kissinger loved China. Remember when we helped China? For decades, Western experts admired China's level of social control. Don't kid yourself. You may think, well, the Falun Gong and the Uyghurs, nobody gives a damn about that. I've heard business leaders, people around, say that China is the template. It's already there. So don't think that somehow we hate China. Oh, no. Or we might, but the people who run this country don't. They admired its manageability. They celebrate and love and laud the fact its lack of free speech. Oh, they love this. There's one thing that they don't like in this country is free speech. They believe that it was efficient. But what is efficient can also be dehumanizing. They didn't care about this. We, all of us, have been the subject of a kind of a control. How do they control us? And the only thing that got in the way before, believe it or not, the most important thing, wasn't us or elections. It was the very fact that they didn't have the technology to do it. See, a system that removes the ability to dissent, it doesn't advance civilization. It strangles it. You saw this during COVID. Look what we went through. And that was a beta test, by the way. And yet that model that we're talking about is being imported, this Chinese model, and adapted under American branding. Silicon Valley doesn't hide its intentions. They're the ones who run the show. If you think that Israel and APAC runs the country, you don't even know what control is. These folks believe stability requires control. Now, it's no surprise, and listen to this carefully, it's no surprise that big pharma and big tech have begun to merge. It gets even better. Electronic ball and chain, electronic medicine. It sounds like progress, but inside that phrase sits the premise and the fear of remote control. Injectable nanotechnology capable of manipulating the nervous system. Amazing, huh? You think that's science fiction? No. Trials are underway. Look at Elon Musk. Look at Neuralink. That's right, Elon. Elon Musk promotes brain chips for neurological advancement. Yet, numerous animals died during early testing, but that happens. That happens. If a device kills monkeys, most humans would reconsider it. But human trials are now on the table. That's a different story. When convenience is marked as salvation or some kind of advancement, scrutiny and skepticism becomes treason. Remember this. Real science. Trust the science. Are you a vax denier? Are you an anti-vaxxer? See what happens? That was beta testing. My friend, once this technology enters the human body, control becomes possible in ways never tested or imagined in open society. If a person becomes, let's say, problematic, do authorities deactivate them, maybe with an update, mollify, shut down, perhaps slow down the volume of their dissent? If power, these people, is not restrained by, some kind of moral limit on our part, and history shows it often is not, then who decides the threshold of punishment? Who decides who speaks? Who decides And by the way, there won't be a trial. This will be extrajudicially. This isn't the court. See, the days of thinking you're going to go to Congress and have somebody do it done is ridiculous. This is over with. This is done extrajudicially. This is literally what a lynch mob is. The response from Silicon Valley is, as you can imagine, very predictable. Trust us. Trust us. We'll get to the bottom of this. But history is not filled with stories of institutions that protected freedom simply because they were asked to politely. You know how this thing works. You know what's coming. But Americans are just too busy. They're not interested enough. They're too busy and distracted with other stuff that they think is important. And the push towards transhumanism, oh my God. I remember hearing that years ago on Alex 20-something years ago. It wasn't a term that was used that often. But the push towards transhumanism is no longer underground. It's sold as some kind of innovation, and then it's sold as health and compassionate modernization. But here's the thing. Compassion becomes fraudulent when it abandons the most vulnerable. That's what this is. Everything you thought, the guidepost, eugenics, Margaret Sanger, it's here. Assisted death is no longer marketed only to terminal patients. No, haven't you been listening? In Canada, it's being quietly proposed to homeless citizens as a relief from, get this, poverty. That's not compassion. It's eugenics. This is everything we've been talking about. The Rockefeller legacy is not accidental. They funded eugenics before World War II. And they're funding parallel projects again today, right now. Nobody's talking about that. We're talking about Zoran Mamdani, or we're talking about Epstein, or Larry Summers, or sex, these folks apologize in words, but they continue. They say, oh, sorry about that. We made a mistake. Nobody's stopping this because nobody's in control of this. As great as the president is, he's not talking about this. The AI agenda, I've told you this is the existential threat to humanity, is a direct extension of this philosophy. Look at the people involved. Eric Schmidt from Google, Henry Kissinger, when he was here, they already predicted a future with two classes. One elite group will design and program AI, and the rest, the majority, will be acted upon by AI and eventually lose the ability to understand what's being done to them. They call this cognitive diminishment. And it's the atrophy of human ability. And listen to what I'm saying. It's all written down now. Nobody's hiding this. This is the old Soylent Green as people. I can say this. I can announce this all day long. Nothing's going to happen. Nobody's alarmed because we're busy. You see, when you no longer remember how to create something, the machine will create it for you. When you can't reason any longer, the machine will reason for you. When you no longer choose, the machine will assign choices and options and call them recommendations. And look what we're doing. Look what ChatGPT has completely destroyed our ability to be creative. This isn't fate. It's a decision. The greatest danger of AI may not be its potential, but its convenience. You see, listen to me. If humanity, if us, people, all of us, if we become dependent on algorithms for every problem, it stops developing the very qualities, the very things that make life worth living and that make us human. Art, music, faith, craft, courage, imagination. Those traits, those things make civilizations, create culture. Without them, we become data nodes or sources or something. Batteries for a system that feeds on compliance and calls it progress. This is the stuff that people used to talk about, but it wasn't possible because it wasn't possible. This is a different story. The answer is not to reject technology. Nobody is saying this, but refuse to surrender to it. Who speaks for us? Who? Use AI, but don't worship it. You can create with it, but don't outsource your soul to it. Rick Beato had the other day something which I don't think anybody really took very seriously, and that is a song completely created out of the blue, out of the ether, and it was a country song, and it was pretty good. And it was so good, it should scare the hell out of you. And it's not so much that they did this, it's that we'll live in a society next that doesn't care about this. A person who creates keeps their humanity intact. A person who only consumes eventually becomes the product itself. When we lose this, we lose our humanity. They're going after every single part and particle and policy that makes us a human. Our ability to think, to control. They're going after our gender, our religion, our God, our sexuality, everything. Every civilization has a moment when it has to look at itself and ask whether convenience is worth consciousness. We've never had this before. Or we've always had tools that helped us in society, tools that were beneficial, tools that helped us hunt or fish or whatever. We're entering that moment now. The control grid is being built, but it will only be activated if we willingly step inside it. Now's the chance to say something. Now is the chance to say something. Mrs. L constantly is talking to people, parents, about the horrors, the rigors of what's going on right now regarding AI. Do you know that there's going to be toys, every toy, every child's toy, everything will have a camera in it, microphones in it, the ability to pick up data. Everywhere that child goes will be monitored, everywhere. And the only way that is stopped is not by legislation, but when parents demand that it stop. And that's up to you. Now, the architects of this future predict that AI will lead either to revolt or to a new religion. They hope it's the new religion. You heard me, a religion. They hope to become its priest. The question for us is simple. Do we still remember how to be human? Do you? Or will we let the machine answer that for us? When I'm asking these questions right now, I get the impression sometimes people think, there he goes again. This isn't a joke. This is as serious as possible. We are going to lose every single thing that makes us who we are. And it won't be the Russians or the Chinese or the communists. We will do it. The people who pose the existential threat to us are the global society, but through their Gestapo, so to speak, and that's big tech. Big tech changes everything. So don't think that Elon Musk is a groovy guy. Don't think Sam Altman or Bill Gates. You've always thought, well, they're kind of creepy. What they can actually do now will blow your mind. This isn't a joke. This isn't exaggeration. This is as serious as it's going to get. And here's the best part. Nobody speak. You will not hear anybody. You don't think J.D. Vance is going to go before anybody and talk about this? Peter Thiel owns him. What are you talking about? Owns him. Palantir owns him. Did you hear Melania Trump give that dystopian message before the military about how, I'm not sure exactly what she was saying, how it basically saying that AI and the military will merge? This is the scariest stuff I've ever heard. She's in. She's sold. Who knows? Maybe they made a deal where Barron's going to be a gazillionaire one day. Maybe Eric has made so many deals with crypto on the side. Maybe they did. I think the president really believes this is progress and money and all that. But they don't understand because we've never had anything where it controls us, consumes us. You might have been big for energy or petroleum or whatever, but that didn't mean that it eventually ate us and destroyed us. This will destroy us. Nobody's speaking. I talked to a fellow last night who's a priest, and he said that this new pope isn't even requiring people to go to church on Sunday. The systematic dissolution of the thing that kept us in control, church and faith and worship. This is in 2 days, it will be the 62nd anniversary of the assassination of John Kennedy. We still don't know anything. And we don't care. We really don't care. I mean, seriously, it's like, oh, okay, we don't care. Bobby Kennedy, whatever. We care about methylene blue for a while, or we care about red dye number 12. But deep down inside, when it comes to the real issues that are existential, that define and interfere with that which is human, what we are doing, what is going on right now, this sexual predation. Larry Summers. Why are they getting on Larry Summers? Larry Summers is a pathetic oaf who had a girlfriend and didn't know how to deal with chicks. And he's fooling around with his wife, but she got her I don't know how many million or hundreds of thousands from Epstein, who was paying her directly. That's not trafficking. That's just, what's going on? Do you know that we had people the other day, I mentioned this, say that the women who were involved in the Epstein case, they said, you know what? They're a bunch of grifters. Grifters. People without knowing anything about the actual facts of the case were siding against. Anyway, I don't want to go through all this. All I'm saying is I see absolutely nothing good on the horizon. Nothing. I don't see anybody who's going to be dealing with this. You've got the Epstein case is a distraction. It's important, but it's a distraction from that which really does matter. It is a distraction. I can't say it enough. I can't put it into words enough. I can't tell you. We need somebody somewhere. We need a new party, a new direction, a new team. Who's looking for the talent? It's done. And the only thing we've got is cable news. You can watch cable news, or you can find yourself interested in things like, the Nick Fuentes thing, I think is so. This is for the first time. Nick Fuentes coming, they are going to let him. Well, don't buy the green bananas, Nick. Not because he says things which are anti-Semitic, but because he poses a threat to young people. And they are not going to let somebody like him take over young people. Because I don't know what message we provide young people. Charlie Kirk was there. See what happened to Charlie? Now, we don't know who did what. We don't know what the story was. We don't know. But Charlie Kirk posed a very serious threat because he was talking about things which were not consonant with and consistent with the edicts and the intellectual and structural foci of this group. And he had to be dispatched, and they removed him. And you can argue about who it was. You can say it was the Mossad. Or go ahead. Knock yourself out. Their fingerprints aren't anywhere near it. Nothing's going to happen. It doesn't matter. Believe it or not. That was a part of it. But they don't like people getting too powerful. That is the story of Jesus. And when I tell people this, and when we talk specifically about Elon, who everybody thinks is so cool, you are going to have nanotechnology. You will ingest pills, and they will say, we don't need to do a colonoscopy. We can check to see. It will pass through, and we will see whether you have any kind of signs of nascent cancers in the alimentary canal, but when it's there, it will leave different transmitter evidence and the like. And when you get to be a problem, When you become an impediment to the society, when your independence becomes obstructionist, they will find a way to flip the switch and to remove you. And remove you not necessarily because by even killing you, but removing your digital footprint, your ability to contract, to transact business, to exist. You will not exist if your name, if your image does not is not recognizable on the panopticon. So let me just tell you this. Remember, it is fascinating. This isn't for everybody. I don't expect everybody to run out and to take heed or to follow up with this. Most people will not follow up with anything that I'm saying because, well, it's kind of bad news. And, you know, but I told you, and I hate people who say this, but I told you, the thing that scares me the most is artificial intelligence. And when AGI hits and we hit singularity and oh my, that's it. It's done. It's done. You will find yourself in a level of imprisonment, intellectually, spiritually, politically, our ability to be human, to speak through the acculturation of things, to music and gone. We're turning our soul over to ChatGPT. And that probably is the worst. It's the last vestige. It basically, when you look at a dog and you compare the dog that you have with its antecedent, the gray wolf. That's or wolf, as people say. That was where everything came from. All the dogs came from. But if you look at this little snicker poo, whatever it's called, it doesn't even have any similarity whatsoever to that. That's what we're going to be: shelled, cored, emasculated, lobotomized. Our souls cored out. This is so perfect. And I will leave you again with this. They are telling you this. They are not hiding this. They are telling you this. They make no bones about it. They're not hiding anything. They are telling you this. So, my friends, think about this. Do research. Read. Use ChatGPT against itself. Find out information. Research this. See what is being said. And then when it hits you, you realize that politics is a joke. What it's controlling has nothing to do with us. Nothing to do with who we are or where we're going. You watch this, my friends. It gets really, really interesting. And final word. When Trump gets out of office, that's it. So enjoy the ride because he will be the last truly independent person, not beholden to, not owned by big tech in Silicon Valley. Okay? Thank you, dear friends. Thank you, dear patriots. Thank you for being a part of our adventure. Please like this video. Please like this video and all the videos. Please subscribe. Subscribing is critical to us. And later on, we might see another live. You never know. But whenever the whim hits me, I will let you know. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being who you are. And until we meet again, my friends, remember the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da, da.